Hello everybody, I want to talk to you today about getting people in to do work in your house or apartment, whatever. It's like trying to find the ideal carpenter, but if you ask anyone in the Philippines, they're all carpenters. They all know someone that is a carpenter, and most of it comes from a relative of a relative who's trying to earn that other relative money, so hopefully he can give you some sort of commission. Now, they all call themselves carpenters. Even the plumber calls himself a plumber. He may have only fixed one tap in his life. So you have to be very careful when choosing the correct people to do your work. Now, obviously you don't know what they're like until they get into the house and start doing work, so it's best to give them like a small job first of all to try and see what their workmanship is like. Now, there's two ways of doing this actually. One way, you can give them a contract whereby you detail all the work that needs to be done, and they will give you a total price for that job. And this is what I did, and sometimes I feel that I made a mistake, but anyway. This does not include materials. This is just the price of the entire job, and it also you don't have to provide them lunch or snacks or anything like that during the day. You give them that one lump sum for the total job to be complete. Now, for that job to be complete, you have to supervise, because if you don't, you're going to end up in trouble, like some of the jobs that I had. First of all, they don't really recognise a contract. They say they do, but they don't. Even if you got them to provide a contract, it'd be very vague. So really, a contract for them is a complete waste of time because they do not comply with the contract. They say, it didn't say they had to paint the ceiling. They say that it doesn't include this, where in fact it does, but they misunderstand. So anyway, you give them a contract, they give you a total price. But like I said, you still have to buy the materials, and every day they will come into me for money to buy additional sand, additional paint and brushes. And I used to say, well, where's the brushes that I actually bought you yesterday? And they said, we can't use them now, they're hard. And this is one of the problems. They do not clean or look after their own equipment because they think that you are there to provide new stuff every day. Now, 9 times out of 10, I've had to go to the builder's merchant myself to get this stuff. I've had to load up hire a small vehicle to bring tiles and help unload the tiles and everything else. This is one of the problems with the workers in the Philippines. It's so different from the West, where they give you a price which includes materials. They bring the materials, they do everything. You just sit down, watch telly, and then when the job is done, pay for it. But you know that that job is done correctly. Hopefully, there are cowboys in UK as well. But anyway, you have to supervise, because they will go out of their way to cut corners, and they will save as much money as they can. They don't have the proper tools sometimes. They make things to act as a tool, like for example when they make a mitre box, instead of buying a proper circular saw that cuts 45-degree angles, and it would make their life much easier. But they will not spend money out on tools. They make do with what they have, and they stand on paint drums when they're doing the ceilings or fixing lights. They stand on paint drums. And you know, I bought myself a set of step ladders, and I let them use them, because they will not go and buy a set of step ladders for their workers. They would sooner have the money for themselves, and this is one of the issues. So with a contract, it's up to them. They know how much they're going to get for the job, and some days they may not turn up, but they're not bothered because they know at the end of the day they're still going to get that same amount of money even if they don't turn up. Also, the quicker they do the job, the quicker they can get paid, and then they can go on to another job or get another contract with you. And this is one of the issues. They try and do the job as quick as possible to get the money. And this is why you have to supervise and go around and check in, because I made a mistake on my downstairs CR. The shower floor should have wasn't built properly so that the water drains into the drain. Instead, the water just stays on one side because I didn't supervise it properly. I should have tested that floor as and when they were doing it, but I didn't, because it's very difficult to be on site 24/7 standing over people, and they do not like it. So another alternative is to pay a day rate. In other words, you pay the supervisor, say 800 pesos and per day, and all his labourers you pay 400 pesos. But it depends on how many labourers that he wants to employ. Now, with a contract, he pays for all his labourers out of the money that I give him. I don't pay any additional. I just pay that one lump sum. But when you pay on a daily basis, they can have as many people as they want on site if they can justify that they're needed, and you have to pay. Again, you have to supervise whatever they're doing, because unlike the contract, the quicker they do the job, the quicker they get paid. With a day rate, they can prolong the job. A job which takes a week, they could make it last for 10 days. And this is where you have to supervise, because they are in it for the money. They want to prolong it as long as possible, because you are not going to tell them to get off the job if the job is only half done. You are obliged, and you are put in such a position that you have to say to them, okay, you just carry on, and you have to keep paying that day rate, and you have to provide them lunch and snacks, because that is part of it. Again, the materials are the same. They will ask you to go and buy the materials every morning, so you have to have an endless supply of money in the house to get your supplies. And whichever way, contract, they will finish the job early to get paid. Day rate, they can prolong the job to get more money. Now, it also depends if you're a foreigner. For example, I had 2 plumbers came to my house to give me a quote for a job on the deep well that I had, which I've now exchanged for Cebu water. One was charging me 25,000 peso for labour, and the other one was charging me 15,000. The one for 25,000 lived in Mandawi, and I thought, well, if I have a problem, he's not going to rush to come to sort it out. And the one that charged 15,000 only lived within walking distance to me. And sometimes since he's done the job, I've had a leak, and he's come back every night and rectified the leak. And that is the difference, 10,000 peso difference. Why? Maybe because I'm a foreigner. But what a lot of these people don't realise is, if you they think foreigners have got endless money to throw away. Well, we haven't. We're not stupid. We want a decent job, and we will pay a decent wage. But, they think, you get the expression, money talks. In other words, if you've got money, you can do basically whatever you want. But here in the Philippines, it's talk money. Everything's about money. They say they can do a job when they can't, but they know that if they ask for an advance to buy materials, they've got money in their pockets. And this is how it works sometimes, sorry. And I'll just put that down a bit because my arm is aching. So this is what you have to be careful of. The plumber that I've got now is very, very good. I've got no regrets, and I will probably use him because he's a maintenance man at one of the beach resorts. So he obviously knows his job. And because he's done a decent job with me and he charged a decent amount of money, then I will get him to do other jobs. But a lot of these people, they want to charge you too much at once and you're put off them straight away. But one of the problems is they lack pride in their work. They're not proud of what they do. They finish the job as soon as possible, and then when you go in and look afterwards, you see grouting isn't done properly, tiles are not done properly, screws are loose, this isn't done properly the way they've done it. And on a few occasions I've had to tell my people that the tiles on the floor were not cut properly and they pull them up. This is why you have got to supervise, because at the end of the day, you're the one paying the money for these people. You're the one that expects them to do a good job. So it is your responsibility. And if the job isn't done properly, don't blame them, blame yourselves for not supervising. Because at the end of the day, they just want to do the job and get out and get the money. And with all the money that I paid these people, they don't seem to have invested in anything. It's all gone, and I just don't understand where, but that's their problem. But anyway, when you do go for a contract or pay daily basis, it doesn't matter what method you use, you've got to supervise, and don't blame them if the job is shit, because at the end of the day, you're the one that is paying, and you're the one that should be making sure that the job is done correctly. So I hope this has helped. I hope that you do find somebody that is good. So all the best. Thank you.